Welcome to the Alive Society podcast, where ordinary is canceled and playing it safe is not on the menu. Life is calling. Are you answering? I'm your host, Levi Cully, and we're diving headfirst into the stories of trailblazers, risk takers, and go-getters who've mastered the art of living life loud, proud, and totally alive. This is your wake-up call, my friend. We're here to shake you out of the mundane, pull you out of autopilot, and ignite the fire in your soul to become the main character in your story. This has been a question that I've just been asking myself every freaking day this week. And every time I ask myself, it gets a little bit more clearer, but it gets a little bit more foggy as well. The big question is, what do you want? I seriously think, with no doubt in my mind, that is the most important question that anybody could ever ask. It's an important question to ask other people. It's an important question to ask yourself daily. And I don't think life is as fulfilling or meaningful until somebody knows the answer to that question for themselves. And it's super, super hard to have direction or know or feel any kind of fulfillment in life without knowing a firm answer to that question. So I wanted to talk about it. I hear a lot of people, I ask a lot of people, and even myself at the beginning when I started doing this and vision boards and stuff, it was always like, I want to be rich. I want to be financially free. I want to have a hot wife. But all of these things, other than the hot wife one, all of these things, you have to put a metric to it. Find a way to put some kind of measurable value towards it and clarify the crap out of it. And then also don't answer that question with an answer that you think that you should say, right? A lot of people say, I want to be financially free because that's what they heard in some book or some Tony Robbins event. What if you were to just ask yourself, what do you want in life? And just be a little more honest than you normally are. So I've always said financial freedom is my biggest goal. That's what I want. I just don't want to have to work to earn money. But honestly, if you took work away from me and if I were to really get a little, a whole nother level of honest behind that answer, I would say that that's no longer true. Actually, I would probably fall apart without work. I appreciate work. I really like having something to work towards every day. And projects are what keep me fulfilled. If I didn't have a project to be working on, then the fulfillment would probably not be as much. And then I wouldn't feel direction in my life. So it's you have to really push yourself into this weird perspective where you're your future self. When I ask myself, what do I want? I have to take myself to the end. If you ask, what do you want, Levi? And I say financial freedom, or to be healthy, or to have a six pack, and you say, why? And then I say, well, I don't have to worry. I don't want to worry anymore. And you say, why? And you say, well, then I would probably answer, well, I had this experience once when I ran out of money. And you say, and I'd say, why is that important? And it just all the way gets down to I genuinely think that when you get to the bottom of all of those whys, what everybody wants is a surety, just to feel assured that you X, Y, and Z, that they have enough money, that they know they're not going to die soon, that they're healthy, and that people love them and they're wanted, So getting to these really, really deep answers of what do you want is really emotionally exhausting, honestly, because you have to get so honest. But I think I've come to a place where I know kind of a number financially where I know that's what I want. I want to make $1 million a year. That is like I will be pleased at that point. And I've heard so many people talk about this in books and podcasts, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinion if you think differently, but I think that I would be happy at a certain point, at $1 million a year. There's some people listening to this that probably make more than that and some that make less than that. And it's like to those who probably don't make as much as that, it's like, wow, that's just astronomical. And to some people, that's not that crazy. Like that's pretty achievable. And my why is because I've just run the numbers. I've done the spreadsheet. I know exactly what my dream lifestyle costs. And that's what I want to be doing. And I know how many hours I want to work every day. I want to work like 4 hours a week, or sorry, a day. And I want that to be on real estate. I want to be a landlord and I want to be an investor. That's it. Like I don't want to do anything else. And so this week got crazy when I started asking myself that in the mirror every morning. I actually took some crazy action towards that. Like, right now I'm like a part-time real estate agent, full-time CEO running a construction company. I'm starting a development company. I'm starting a private equity firm. I'm doing a bunch of other stuff on the side, and I'm a landlord, I'm an investor. And when I really started asking that question, it got pretty clear the things that I should be dropping out, the things that I should be like eliminating. So what I did this week actually was I said, I want to be a developer. Like I want to be Mr. Investor and landlord, and not necessarily landlord, but landowner, property owner. So what I did was I talked to my boss. We kind of came up with a conclusion that we would partner on the private equity thing, and I would just do that during the day. So we talked about hiring someone new to fulfill all the duties that I do as like the CEO, kind of the monotonous stuff. I'd stay on the high level decisions, but we kind of eliminated a lot of those tasks so I could fit in a lot more in my day. And by doing that, I kind of learned how easy it is to delegate tasks and stay on the high level important stuff. So long story short, I kind of feel like I have a better clarity after 1 week of asking, what do you want? And I still think I'm not even there, even though I've spent, a long time asking myself and doing vision boards and talking to my wife about what do we want? Where do we want to end up? It's an ongoing question, and the answer might change once a week, but I just think that that's the most important and powerful thing that somebody like a man could do in their life, like on a daily basis. And I love to have friends close to me that can check me on this. So sometimes if I'm talking about my goals or whatnot, and I say I want a Lamborghini, and they say why? Like I have one really close friend who just hates like the whole, like we're in this circle where we all work for ourselves, right? And we're trying to make as much money as possible, and we're really driven, right? But he calls me out on my stuff. Like he's like, "Why would you want a Lamborghini? Where would you take that? Wouldn't you rather have a dirt bike for each day of the week or something, And I'm like, dude, you're right. Like the Lamborghini would probably be mostly for other people, but what if I want to go really fast around a racetrack? And he just says like, then go rent one or something. Like it's just stupid to like, I don't know. It just throws everybody for a loop. Like, do you guys have any experience with that? Do you have any thoughts? Like, is this tearing you apart hearing this? Like, is it shaking what you thought about? Because that's how I felt first time I was asked this.
No, last night actually I was doing the same thing. I uh I was like really stuck in this, I don't know, spot where my days were just going in a direction where I didn't want it to go. Like I would work, but it wasn't to my full potential and I wasn't getting all the things done that I wanted to. So yesterday for like 3 hours, I sat down, I got really caffeinated, and I plugged in my earbuds and put on some like lofi beats or whatever. just so I could focus, like really focus with my ADHD or whatever the fetch I have. And so I I sat there and I literally was asking myself those questions like, what do I want my days to look like? What is the schedule? What is the routine for every minute of the day? Just having a general routine, I think is very important. But I like what you said about what actually matters. Like, what do you want? They did this at BU when I went to, there's this course called BU that a lot of people have gone through at our real estate office. And it really just teaches you how to become, well, it doesn't teach you, it's like an experience. And you go through it and you learn who you are as a person and what you actually value. But they do an exercise where they go through and they say, what do you actually want? And one of the things that I really want is just freedom. So, like, freedom to just go dirt biking when I want with friends that I want and have a job that's flexible. I think all of us, like Levi said, are looking for purpose. And so just stopping working isn't really necessarily ideal. But I think having the freedom to do what you want to do really helps with that. I like I like having a mix of fun and hard work every day. And so that's kind of what I focus on is what am I going to do that's super fun today and what am I going to do that's super hard and just grind it out and get it done. Set goals. And yeah, so that's what I did yesterday. I spent all day creating just like a full list. I used Chat GPT. I bought some AI assistant stuff. And so now I feel like I'm locked in. I got more done today than I did in the last 3 days, probably just because of the fact that I was able to sit down and actually lock in what matters in the day, what matters in the mornings, what is crucial, like reviewing your notes, journaling, reading. I don't know if, I mean, I'm very spiritual, so I read my scriptures, try to get that going. So I have like a spark for the day. Just things like that, I think helps so much. So I love what you said about finding why, or is that what the question was, Levi? The why?
Just what do you want?
What do you
Yeah.
want? Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I love that. So you said that you like to play really hard and work really hard. Do you feel like without working really hard, do you even like feel like you need to play very hard? I feel
No,
like,
I feel like I don't deserve it if I don't work hard enough.
yeah, that and it's like I don't feel this need to play.
Yeah.
Work really hard. There's no like desire to really
Yeah.
go play really hard, which wakes my heart up and like fills my cup to go work hard again. Like I think men are just built to do that. Work really hard and play really
Yeah.
hard.
I like that thought actually. It's not necessarily like you're avoiding it or you don't feel motivated. It's just like when you work hard, it makes you want to play harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. You kind of have to have one to have the other almost.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That's cool. I definitely think that asking yourself what do you want will reveal your true priorities in life. It'll reveal if you have direction in your life. It gives you ownership, kind of like if you're actively creating your own reality, then, or if you're just living the reality you've been given. Because everybody has two kind of subconscious roles in their life where they're living the reality they were given or they're creating their own reality. And one is way easier than the other, right? And it's really hard. It's emotionally draining to kind of ask the hard questions like what do I want? What do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? Like what do I want to do with this 24 hours a day that I have, you know? Um super important like hard question to ask. And then we've talked about this a lot. I have two big points about this. First of all, it helps you to say no if you know what you want. So, like opportunities will come to me, and I have to either say yes or no, right? And if I say yes to the wrong opportunity, then I just dumped hours and hours and hours, days and days and days of my precious, valuable time on earth here into something that's like pretty, that didn't kind of give me any kind of return on that time. Versus if I would have said no at that point, it would have freed me up for better opportunities. And I think really expert entrepreneurs, successful people, and happy people learn how to say no. Um, and that's just a quality that I suck at, but I'm really getting a lot better. Having strong boundaries around stuff like if I'm done hanging out with a certain person just because they make me feel like crap and they're just negative, great, be done. But like it takes guts to be done hanging out with that person, right? Um, kind of a complicated mix, but yeah, that's kind of really important. And then the last point I have is that if you know what you want, you can then and only then be connected to your actual authentic self. So that's a kind of like a ultimate achievement in my mind. Like on the hierarchy of achievements in life, I think that achieving like reaching your authentic self, being your authentic self, being the most you that you possibly can be, you is the ultimate prize. And you can only then reach that if you know what you want, like deep down. And it's so hard to get past what other people think you should want or what you think other people want you to want or what your mentors want. Like dig way past that and get down to like what you want. And usually you can get there by asking your child self, what do you want? Like if you look back in time, for me, it's about 5 years old, maybe 8 years old. If I were to ask that kid, what do you want? Some it's like 15-year-old. Like you ask your 15-year-old self, or you look back, like what would I have said to my 15-year-old self as my 15-year-old self if someone asked me what do I want? Usually you can kind of answer that question a little easier as a child. Sometimes there's childlike answers that come out that just wouldn't make sense, but you can really kind of learn a lot asking kind of like a past version of yourself. So an example of mine, I've always said that I want like the biggest, nicest house up on the hill. Um, and I had to ask myself, that's always been on my vision board. Like I have a vision board in my office and I look at it every day and it has this big, gorgeous house. It's a picture that I took of my dream house. Like it's pretty achievable, honestly. It's not a crazy house, but it's just up there on the hill, up above the temple in Draper, and it's like gorgeous, right? And I had to ask myself, like, do I even want that? Do I want to have to drive 30 minutes from the freeway? Like, do I want to be close to town? Do I want to be, do I, and so I never asked myself, do I really want this? But last few months ago, I had the opportunity to buy a house like that. I was under contract with a house just like that. It was up on the hill and it was a beautiful home. Ended up not buying it. I backed out of being under contract for it because ultimately my wife and I decided it's not really what we want or what I want. My image of being up on the hill is kind of an ego thing. Turns out, which sucks to say, but like my whole identity was built around that. Like I wanted to be the dad who drove an F-350 lifted that pulled a really, really nice sparkly boat into the garage of this house up on the hill. And not to say that that's a bad thing, just for me personally, I that is my vision for myself, but I have to check myself all the time to make sure that it's not an ego thing and that it's actually like that's truly what I want. It's truly what I want. And it's hard to feel like I deserve that sometimes, but we all feel that, right? So I wanted to take a minute and like, is there anybody on the call that just wants to dig in and share what they want in life? Like if they've actually come to a conclusion in the past of like deciding what they actually want in life and what's the most important.
I was just gonna say, like, my perspective on what I want has changed as my life has gone on. Like, as a single dude, summer sales grind, like I had a vision board. I thought I knew what I wanted,
Yeah.
got married, and then that whole perspective had to change because then it became two of us making a decision. And what did we want? And then we had a kid, and then a surprise kid, and then it's like now we've got like now we're four deep of like what does our family want, and then
Yeah.
how do I adapt to that, and how do I like my perspective of okay, if my family wants that, what do I have to do as the dad? Backpedal, what does that mean? Like job wise, what do I need to do to be able to provide for my kids to have those experiences?
Yeah.
And then it's just like it's continued to grow as my circumstances have changed. Like the perspective on things continue to change. Like I value getting home from work and my girls just doing laps around my back shop on their four wheelers. Like I would buy them two $10,000 four wheelers just to watch them do that. Like that's how much value I get and I get satisfaction from that. And like 5 years ago, I would have never even thought that was something I would look forward to each day. And now it's like there's a ton of value to me getting home, having those experiences with my kids.
Oh, dude, I love that. That's a cool perspective.
It's like the smallest thing, right? Like they're four wheelers. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like for them, they get a cool experience. And for me, I get like a sense of gratification out of something so simple. Um, and then even like the opposite side of that, my like go to right now is just like if I want peace and quiet, I go shoot my bow, go to the backyard, and I just like it's a mindless task. I have to focus in on that shot in that moment, and like nothing else matters. And it's just like a little getaway. Would have never like I got into archery a year and a half ago. That was never on my vision board or goal board. Or like it was never like a I don't even know if you would say it meditation, but it was never like a release that I would have thought I would have. But like
Yeah.
as I've grown and got into it, it's actually super fun and super like I don't know if I'd say healing, but relaxing for me. And I look forward to it. I try to shoot my bow every day. But
Dude, that's so cool. It's it's just like we were saying, like it changes every day, right? Like as a single guy, you're what you want is not what you're gonna want when you have four kids, right? That's so cool. And it's a true test of a man to be able to change that, to let go. Like you said, Caden, when you got married, from having your single life, like sales bro mentality with your dream board, letting go of some of those things because it's not what your wife wants. Personally, that's been one of the biggest challenges lately is like not only because my wife doesn't like we kind of align on most things, but just letting go of the idea of like, okay, it's what I want, right? Because now it's not like it's what we want, and there's so much more work behind that. Um, that's cool. That's very masculine, very healthy masculine way to look at answering this question. That's cool. Um, yeah, I mean that's basically it. That's the point I wanted to drive home was ask yourself that question. And as we ask ourselves that question kind of as a group, like we can call each other out on him like on things like, are you sure that's really what you want? Does the real Trey deep down want something else? Or does the real Tommy like really want that, or is that to impress somebody else? Because
I want a jet ski.
and I love that because you do, bro. He texts me like every week, like we gotta go jet skiing.
that's not to impress anybody. That's just pure joy.
I know. I have a video on my phone of him like with the biggest smile I've ever seen in my whole life on a jet ski, just ripping down Hiram Dam. Pretty awesome.
Trey, look up a sea couch. That's what you
Sea
need.
couch.
The sea couch.
Okay, I'll look it up.
I had one for like 8 months. It was a riot.
I need to look it
No
up
way.
right now.
I could see you and Levi on that thing together.
That's so sick. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example of like the child self answering the question, right? 'Cause, like you're trying to be all mature and adulty, like it's not going to be a jet ski. It's probably going to be something like a, I don't know. I want to drive a Honda Accord or something, you know. Or maybe it really is a Honda Accord. Maybe you just love Honda Accords, but I don't know. Goes with the point. So, any thoughts? Anything you guys want to share? Any other comments? Or does anyone else want to share what they really want and if they've deep dived on that?
Well, Levi, I this has been good to think about because like I've had some of these thoughts already in my mind. And you helped me to kind of like focus them a little bit, I guess, and like asking the right questions to help narrow some stuff down. And um, you know, I'm going to school, right? Getting a PhD, and I have this. I wanted to teach, and I realized like listening to you is not. I'm not saying it's not something I still want to do, but you know, I think I told you I want to be a writer. I've wanted to be an author since I was like 7 years old. So it's been a long time, and I've been working on my manuscript more lately and stuff, and getting back into that and stuff. And you know, I was thinking about my like asking questions, like, you know, if I was just teaching, would I be happy? And you know, I don't think I would be. You know, if I ever made it and I was able to be the author I want to be, if I was writing books and that was like a career, and I really got my publishing company up and going, so that I'm not even just doing my own stuff, but other people's stuff, you know, would I be happy? And I think the answer that comes to me is yes. Like I would be totally satisfied if that was the only thing I was doing with the rest of my life. And I don't feel that way with teaching, which makes me want to evaluate that. You know, like I'm not saying I want to stop getting my degree because I'm learning a ton of really useful stuff that I think would even transcribe into my writing and the kinds of things that I can write about. And I think that I would enjoy doing teaching, but maybe as a side thing, a side gig, or a hobby, kind of more of a thing where it's like a part-time thing, but not my full focus. And so it's helped me though to be like, okay, what is my priority right now? And I feel like my priority should be, okay, I really need to get this publishing company going. I really need to be focusing as much of my time as I can on that. And so, yeah, that I really appreciated this. And you know, it's kind of interesting because I think where I'm at in my life right now that is a good thing, but the divorce means that I don't have to focus on anybody else anymore. So it's a good time in my life to be like, I can just sit down and I can write and I can do the stuff that I need to do. And I don't have to worry about other priorities, you know? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really appreciated this conversation.
Good. Good. Yeah, that's an amazing example. Like just what you're going through in life right now really makes you wonder, like, oh yeah. So we talked about the step going from single to married and having to reclassify what the priorities are and what we want, but taking the step from married back to single really helps to refocus on what do you want. And as a man, you're a leader. You're the leader of your family. And what you want, a lot of times, it is the man's job to decide what the family wants. Because sometimes indecisiveness is a character trait of the kind of the feminine energy and the feminine side of the family. Their job isn't decide where we're going. Their job is decide how do we get there and how do we take care of ourselves on the way there, right? So, not a terrible way to just like think, okay, what if I was single again? Like, what do I really want? Where are we going? And it gives so much super cool like background and story to a family and a child's childhood to have an exciting way to explain, like, tell me about your family. Oh, we go to the Maldives and we go deep sea fishing and we go scuba diving and we ride jet skis every weekend, you know, because my dad loves these things. And then kids usually end up being more interesting, more capable, and more confident when their dad had a bunch of really wild interests, you know? Um, that's a that's a beautiful way to painful, yes, beautiful, but also beautiful way to re-look at what's important in life, right? That's cool. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
I mean, if you'll take the hanger on in the corner here, I've appreciated it as well. This has been a topic I've been pondering for about a year, so I've loved it. So thank you for letting me just be a fly on the wall today.
Totally. Yeah, man. Thanks for joining. It's super true. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining.